I mean, what he's doing is, I mean, kind of cool if he can continue to steal money and they match him the way they match him.
The combination of Netflix, Mike Tyson, and Jake Paul didn't only give us one of the most depressing boxing matches ever, it also happened to be the most fraudulent boxing fight from Floyd Mayweather's point of view. And while they got the penalty for fraudulent action, Mid Tyson had a shock attack that sent him to the hospital almost immediately. The boxing legend had sacrificed 8 months of his life to ensure he made a worthy purse on November 15th. He had put in so much effort, dropped several habits, and even risked a dangerous illness just to make it for the fight. Hence, the court ordered him to drop a huge amount of his purse to compensate the prosecutor.
In breaking news, streaming giant Netflix is being issued a class action in relation to the Mike Tyson and Jake Paul fight. TMZ reports the lawsuit is over streaming issues and a breach of contract. Thousands of viewers claim they had trouble.
Talking about the incident, Floyd Mayweather had queried why Mike Tyson and Jake Paul called it a professional fight when it is even worse than an exhibition. He expressed his disappointment in Mike Tyson, ranting on how unfortunate it is for boxing that one of its greatest legends, who should be making efforts to improve the sport, is the one ruining it with his hands. That was no professional fight. There was no exhibition either. It was worse. Why did they call it that? So many things to question. Just looked so wrong right from the onset.
Match him. I can't knock his hustle. So if they can match him the way how they've been matching him, more power to him.
He then advised them to come to Las Vegas and shatter his records if they were truly sure of their capacity to pull a crowd. However, he completed his statement by saying, "I trust Vegas not to sanction such crap." Well, there might be an iota of envy from Floyd Mayweather, who's shown over and over again that he has a lesser pull than Mike Tyson when it comes to exhibition fights.
Of a lifetime. You've had a chance to assess Jake Paul. What do you think of his boxing ability?
I think he's came a long way from YouTube.
Remember, Floyd Mayweather fought Jake Paul's brother Logan Paul 3 years ago, and he plans to even make a bigger fight with Jake Paul 4 years after the fight in Florida. However, he now has a stumbling block. The first obstacle is the fact that it remains highly unlikely that Jake Paul will be able to attract such a crowd in his influencer boxing career ever again, as the fight on November 15th left many fans very disappointed.
You do not play boxing. And there, Paul now. Not a lot of technique behind these punches, and Floyd Mayweather shelling it up, of course, the fans.
Also, it was very clear, even from the press conferences, that the real attraction to the fight was Iron Mike Tyson, whose previous exhibition match as Roy Jones Jr. was so successful that it was ranked in the top 10 of the highest pay-per-view numbers of all time. Hence, Floyd Mayweather will be greatly mistaken if he thinks Jake Paul is the answer to making his pay-per-view numbers in exhibition fights. Also, Mike Tyson's comments about Jake Paul's boxing skills is another reason why Floyd Mayweather may look elsewhere, as Jake Paul, who weighed almost 230 pounds when he weighed in for his fight against Mike Tyson, won't be only weightier than Floyd Mayweather if they fight, but he'll also have a better boxing resume than many of Floyd Mayweather's exhibition opponents, like Deji Olatunji, Logan Paul, John Gotti, and a few others. If Jake was dangerous for a Mike Tyson who weighed slightly more than him on fight night, then he'll be acrimonious to Floyd Mayweather, who isn't only smaller and shorter, but would also have a lighter punching power than the problem child.
And listen, I seen a YouTube of him at 16 doing weird dances. That's not the guy I'm going to be fighting. This guy's going to come, he's going to try to hurt me, which I'm accustomed to.
Floyd Mayweather first expressed his interest in taking on Jake Paul before the fight. During an appearance on the It Is What It Is podcast, Mayweather had plenty of praise for Paul for agreeing to fight Tyson, but not for the reason many might expect. What he's doing is kinda cool. If he can continue to steal money and they match him the way they match him, I can't knock his hustle, Mayweather said. The comments are appropriate for Money Mayweather, seeing as he ushered in a new era of boxing and promotion after agreeing to fight UFC star Conor McGregor in 2017. Mayweather said that the realities of this digital age mean that boxers have to do more marketing themselves on TikTok and YouTube, as well as agreeing to fights that some would consider outlandish, as is the case between 27-year-old Paul and 57-year-old Tyson.
More power to him.
Champ, we appreciate your time. Yeah. No, we got to give, Nick, put the camera on.
The promoter is dying. It's now the responsibility of the fighter to promote himself. That's the new boxing world, Mayweather said. Just hustle, man. Just hustle. The respect Mayweather has for Paul does not seem grudging. It comes off as genuine admiration and respect for what he's trying to do. And at the end of the day, money is money for many, no matter how they've earned it. As for Floyd Mayweather and Mike Tyson, it's more about the impossibility of two kings reigning in one kingdom. Well, it became even worse when Floyd Mayweather discredited Mike Tyson's mentor, Muhammad Ali, and instead mentioned his own name as the greatest boxer of all time.
Okay, Ali.
Is Ali the same fighter that got beat by a fighter with 7 fights? Leon Spinks beat Muhammad Ali when he only had 7 fights.
He can't take his kid to school by himself. And he's talking about he's great. He's a little scared man. He's a very small, scared man.
The rivalry between the pair of boxing titans came to a head during the WBC convention at the Mirage Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada, USA, back in 2015. Blessed with earth-shattering power and a fearsome aura, Mike Tyson is undeniably one of the most terrifying men to have ever set foot in the ring. With his infamous peekaboo smile, the legend bobbed and weaved in front of his opponents before unleashing his trademark combinations that, once detonated, resulted in his rivals crashing towards the canvas.
If you could have fought any fighter in your life, any weight, any era, who would you have picked that you would have liked to fight the most?
Floyd Mayweather.
Following a successful career, Tyson hung up the gloves, leaving the door open for Floyd Mayweather to take the baton and become the next star of American boxing. With frightening speed and precision, he started his career as Pretty Boy before later transitioning into the defensive genius referred to as Money. While the legend possessed remarkable skills inside the squared circle, it was his larger-than-life personality that attracted the fans. Whether people wanted to see him win or lose, they tuned in to watch the chaos unfold. Despite appreciating the Michigan fighter's greatness, Tyson took exception to the 4-weight champion claiming he was better than Muhammad Ali, with the heavyweight branding the icon delusional during an interview with UCN.
I love it. Why?
Huh?
You want to knock him out?
Well, I would love him before, and I wish he was my weight. He can't take his kids alone to school by himself.
Thus, when the pair met on stage, Iron pretended to throw a punch at Mayweather before chuckling and walking away. However, while most would probably implode at the mere thought of the ex-heavyweight champion hitting them, to his credit, the Hall of Famer didn't even flinch. Ultimately, while the former welterweight champion probably walked away from their encounter on stage with the bragging rights, the situation may have been different if the 218-pound monster had chosen to commit to his shot. Born in a tough area of Brooklyn, New York, USA, Tyson grew up around violence, learning the necessary skills to defend himself in dangerous situations and utilizing his experiences on the street to become a warrior capable of rendering anyone who dared set foot in the ring with him unconscious with a single shot.
It's so hard to beat him. I don't care. It's just really hard to beat him. You know, the style that he employs is just really difficult to beat him in that particular style. It's just really, I don't care, love him or hate him, he's a hard man to beat.
Throughout his career, Iron Mike made a reputation for his frightening style in the ring, making the prospect of facing him without a referee to control the action nothing short of terrifying. With an elusive peekaboo style, the American bobbed and weaved in front of his opponents before landing the brutal blow that sent them spiraling towards the canvas. With that in mind, his sublime athleticism would have undeniably crossed over into street fighting skills if he ever needed them. However, while he was a bulldozer, Floyd Mayweather was the opposite. Blessed with remarkable reflexes and a sublime boxing IQ, Money made his rivals miss and ultimately pay with his stinging shots. Despite not carrying the KO power of Tyson, he undeniably captured the attention of the public with his classy displays and braggadocious personality.
I kind of shoulder roll, and I would fight him differently. I would fight a guy like Floyd differently if he was a heavyweight.
But at the end of the day, weight classes exist for a reason. Therefore, it comes as no major surprise that the former heavyweight king thinks he could have beaten Mayweather in a street fight pretty handily. Mike Tyson believes Floyd Mayweather would have beaten him in a boxing match if they were the same weight class. While the New Yorker is adamant he would have starched money in a street fight, he's more than willing to concede how good a boxer he was.
We can never fight, of course, because of the weight difference. But I wouldn't fight him the way they fought him. It's just hard to fight him. I would be mean. I would be dirty because you would have to do everything to fight him because he's just so good.
Remarkably, the combat sports icon confesses that he believes had they been in the same division, Mayweather would have gotten the better of him. Tyson admitted, "If I was his size in the ring, he would outpoint me." Ultimately, regardless of who would have emerged victorious in a fantasy bout, it's fair to say that both men have cemented their places in the boxing history books. Ultimately, weight classes exist for a reason. Thus, with a massive size advantage, the East Coast brawler would undeniably enter a street fight with Mayweather as the favorite. The chemistry between two boxing legends of a different era, Mike Tyson and Floyd Mayweather, was very complicated.
You can't fight. It's almost impossible to fight him clean. It's almost impossible to win
Canelo,
fight and fight him clean.
When
you can't
see
fight
the
clean
fight,
with
you'll
him.
see Canelo wasn't exactly clean in that fight.
You can't fight this guy clean. That's the credit on how masterful he is.
The two respect each other, but very often disagree and go back and forth. No one can claim that they share a very good bond, but one thing is clear, there is a boundary between them they both maintain. In an episode of Hot Boxing, the renowned actor Jason Lee tried to find an answer to why, despite being two of the greatest fighters of all time, why the pretty boy and the baddest man on planet are not good friends. Lee said that, since both are humble guys in private, what was stopping them from becoming good friends? In response, Tyson first asked Lee, "You think that guy is humble privately?"
What do you think of him, and do you see any of yourself in Floyd Mayweather?
Well, I don't know. I'm sure there is some affinity there. It has to be for him to be that successful, because all boxers.
To which Lee answered, "Privately, I think so. I mean, with me, he's humble. I feel like I have a very humbling effect on people. I mean, I don't know. I just kind of thought of you guys. I thought there would be a clique of like champions. Just hang out." After listening to the actor's opinion, Tyson gave a very diplomatic answer. "I don't know. Sometimes I do want to click with him. And then sometimes I say, damn, we two different species of guys, that's just the way it is." Well, Tyson detailed. As of now, both stars are retired. Tyson, 58, reigned the throne of the heavyweight division twice. He still holds the record of becoming the youngest heavyweight champion ever.
Boxers have to have that same drive and willpower and be willing to put in the time and work. That's really the discipline, to do what you hate to do, but do it like you.
On the other hand, the best ever became the champ in 5 different weight classes. Astonishingly, he retired with a record 0 F50. 0. As of now, Mayweather is focusing on his business ventures and exhibition showdowns. On the other hand, Tyson keeps himself engaged with his podcast. He also launched several business ventures. The most famous of them is his edibles company that produces Mike Bites. It was in the midst of all these that the Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul fight was born. A fight that proved to the world that there was no such thing as a special 58-year-old Mike Tyson, but one that had aged like every other.
I confront it. And that's my personality. Like right now, I'm scared to death. But as the fight gets closer, the less nervous I become, because it's reality. And in reality, I'm invincible.
Despite Mike Tyson having high praises for Jake Paul and sending warnings to his next opponent, the much-anticipated fight between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul turned out to be a humiliating exhibition by the 58-year-old boxing legend. After 8 rounds, Jake Paul was declared the winner by unanimous decision, with a wide margin on the judges' scorecards. The loss to Jake Paul marked the 7th defeat in Mike Tyson's career. Jake Paul, a 27-year-old social media huckster, beat a 58-year-old man with a long history of health problems, both physical and mental, in a boxing ring late on Friday night.
Paul landed throwing a jab hook right hand, followed by a hook. The last hook was cool. With a real power shot.
Does he have?
The fact that Mike Tyson was defeated so comprehensively on points was meant to give Paul a semblance of authenticity in the unforgiving business of boxing. But it didn't mean much in the end, Tyson is the former world champion who, in the mid to late 1980s, spread awe and terror as he tore through the heavyweight ranks. But in the dog days of 2024, Tyson was trying to overcome years of abuse after far too many drugs and far too much drinking, as well as recent troubling issues with a bleeding stomach ulcer and acute sciatica. Paul received a unanimous verdict by 2 scores of 79, 73, and a shutout 80, 72.
The one knockout left in his arsenal.
Winner by unanimous decision, Jake.
The near sold-out crowd at the Atant Stadium in Arlington, Texas was fiercely partisan in their early support of Tyson. 90 minutes before the ring walks, footage of Paul's arrival was greeted with a muted hum. But we then saw Tyson walking slowly to his locker room. His jacket was emblazoned with his famous old boxing alias, Iron Mike. The huge and sustained roar was strangely moving. Jake Paul and his brother Logan were driven to the ring in a customized Chevy lowrider instead of making the traditional fighter's walk to a stale old Phil Collins track. Tyson made a somber, brooding trudge, wearing a stark black top in a deliberate attempt to echo the menace which once defined him. It was the high point of a long night for the once formidable Tyson. He looked weathered and aged as he was introduced in the middle of the ring. Tyson came out with a modicum of intent, and he soon caught the retreating Paul with a clipping left and a glancing right. He ducked under a few swinging punches, but Tyson was then tagged by a much sharper right to the head. It was already plain that any vague hope of Tyson being able to summon his once trademark ferocity belonged to a forlorn fantasy. The 2-minute round ended with Tyson, wearing a brace on his dodgy knee, trying slowly and unsuccessfully to close the distance between him and a cheerfully backpedaling Paul.
Was going to face Mike Tyson, wanting to see more action. He just landed the first round. He's Jake Paul, 12 of 53, 23%. Tyson coming out aggressively.
Keep messing with that mouthpiece.
The second round was dulled by pedestrian exchanges, with Tyson looking bereft of ideas and energy while Paul landed a few decent punches. But the former world champion was soon in trouble when he was rocked to the soles of his black boots by a stream of left hands. Decades ago, Tyson would have been far too fast and elusive for such a telegraphed series of blows. He would have slipped under them and then punished and dropped a boxing novice for his audacity. But Tyson's speed and ring savvy is long gone, and he took his shots with bleak stoicism. Paul cruised through the remaining rounds, winning them with little obvious effort. Amid boos from the crowd at Atant Stadium, Tyson and Paul answered post-fight questions, with Tyson's response surprising many, especially when asked if this would be his last fight.
Oh, left hook! Triple important task, all referees do, but Mike Tyson taking...
Paul, look down and come over with overhand right. You better believe it.
And there is, it's, you know what?
Jake Paul.
For the media and the audience present, Mike Tyson's performance was disappointing during the fight. The main criticism was the low number of punches he threw, with some analysts even commenting that by the end of the bout, they could count on their hands the number of times they saw him land a punch. Despite the humiliation, Tyson was asked in the post-fight interview why he thought it wasn't his best night, to which Tyson replied, "I have a biting fixation." The audience laughed at his response and took it with irony, but what surprised many was when he was asked if this had been the last time they would see him in the ring, and he answered that he still believed he could fight a few more times.
Is this possibly the last time for you?
I don't think so.
You've got more in you. Who comes to mind?
Well, I don't know. Maybe his brother.
Iron Mike even hinted at who he would like to face next. Not the last one. Maybe his brother next. This was in reference to the possibility of fighting Logan Paul. Paul, with a surprised expression, quickly responded, "Mike, I'll kill you," causing laughter in the stands. After seeing Tyson's performance against Jake Paul, it seems Logan could easily beat him. At 58 years old, it became clear that it might be time for Mike Tyson to pursue a different career.
You want to fight Logan? Logan, I think he said you might be next. Motherfucker, I'll kill you, Mike. No, please, no.
Or, if he insists on returning to the ring, it should be against an opponent of his own age and weight. Jake Paul, on the other hand, eventually admitted the fact that he reduced the intensity at which he boxed Mike Tyson after he noticed the former undisputed world heavyweight champion could hardly cope with the pressure. In all, it was a great fight to only two people, Mike Tyson and Jake Paul. The rest of the world saw it as a shambolic display or a sigh of relief from the tragic possibility of Mike Tyson getting knocked out. It's only sad to see them lose so much, including the money they made. And that's all for now. For the very best updates on news, moments, events, and actions in the world of boxing, stay connected with us by subscribing to our YouTube channel. And don't forget to turn on notifications to get notified when we drop quality contents like this. Until next time, peace out.